Hey everyone, welcome to this special webinar hosted by Move into the Future and its just launched community for the over 50s, the WIZE MOVE Society. My name is Ingun Bol, I'm the founder of the Move into the Future, and I'm here today with my co-host, Dr. Tatiana Rowson, and our guest speaker for today, Viola Edwards. And we have already some more guests here and we'll introduce them later. We believe that the over 50 generation has a significant role to play in the creation of the future. They bring so much knowledge, experience, and wisdom to the table. We can use to create solutions for the new challenges that we're facing. So before we really dive into the topic of today, I would like to ask Tatiana and Viola to shortly introduce themselves and share a little bit about your relation with or interest in the topic. And for those of us who joined us on Zoom, we love you to contribute to the conversation. Of course, if you want to contribute, please show yourself with your video on, with your camera on. And if you do not want to be seen or do not want to contribute, please raise your hand or share your questions in the chat. So if you have joined us on Facebook, welcome. Please share your comments and questions in the comment space. So let's start with you, Tatiana.
Hi, hello, Ingun, good afternoon or good morning, depending where our listeners are. So it's nice to be here. For the ones that don't know me, I am a psychologist, I'm a researcher, and I research pretty much midlife transitions and what happens beyond that, especially in relation to work and working life, and how people can be productive and live life to the full in the later years. So yes, I'm really excited to talk about the topic we have for today. I'm really happy we have Viola here with us and to share her wisdom, to share her knowledge. Yes, so I will let you introduce yourself, Viola, because I'm sure I won't make justice to you.
Yes, thank you. Well, it's so, for me, it's always fascinating to hear Tatiana and her interest about what happened in midlife and what happened later. In me, it has been the opposite. I've been in life, in the adult life since I'm 13. So I get so used to be the youngest, to be so young, like I'm working since I'm 13. By 19, I was a marketing manager of a company. By 24, I start again. It's like, so for me, it's such a surprise to age, I have to tell you. And like, I don't, it's not like I deal with it well or wrong. Actually, I still feel that person. And sometimes I'm surprised that I'm the eldest one in the room. Yeah. So I am a mentor for many years, and I train mentors and coaches. I am a breath worker. It's a methodology that I learned in early 90s. By heart, since I'm 11 or 9, I always wanted to be a psychologist. So I had to work 21 years in business before I managed to get into practice psychotherapy. And I'm a positive psychotherapist and transpersonal psychotherapist, mentor, and public and speaker. And I want to tell you that now at 62, I think it's just like a number. Of course, sometimes I feel it here and there, and I'm very happy to be with you today to talk about what does it mean 50 plus, and what does for us mean to be agile and clear in our mental health.
Viola.
Yes.
Thank you, Viola. I'm sorry, I thought I was muted. So the topic for today is, well, first of all, this month is Mental Health Awareness Month. And in this time of, especially of the worldwide pandemic, we become even more aware that mental health is becoming a bigger and bigger issue. So Viola, can you please, from your background, share a little bit why this is so important to discuss in general and more specific for this over 50 generation?
Yes. I was just teaching before one of my lessons of Grit Academy before I come here. And I asked, what is it to be agile and clear of mental health? And one of my colleagues, who's psychologist, social psychologist, that I appreciate and respect very much, Stephanie. He said, is to be synchronized with what I feel, think, and do, with a level of autonomy and empathy, and I add to it, and service to others. So it's if I said in a simple way, how we can define that we are healthy, mentally healthy. And I would say also that we can, I used to have a sentence for many years from the 90s, like health and success is when my feeling, my breathing, my thought, and my doing dance to the same rhythm. You know, I'm Venezuelan and we have el son. So how is it when all these, when we're aligned, yeah? We're not talking about perfection, but we're talking about clarity, about really having the ability to catch those thoughts that are coming against us, and how restoring our thinking system, we can restore our reality. Under any circumstances, I'm talking about just being positive and this false positivity and ignoring what's happening in the world. So I want to tell you that as a positive psychotherapist, Dr. Nosrat Peseshkian, the creator of positive psychotherapy, early 70s, he would define it in this way. Like he would say, well-being is not impossible, it's possible. It has three major principles. The first principle is positive, that's coming from positum in Latin, means what is given, what's there. So all of us, we are given, we have there what we need really to learn, to expand, and to heal. And also to see the whole picture, not to see only the corner that keep us in victimacy and all that. The second principle is the principle of balance. And he would say, balance, life will take you out of balance. You learn and you go back to balance. And life will take you again out of balance, yeah? So balance in all our dimension, of course, body, mind, emotion, relation, energy, meaning. And the third principle, he would say, is the principle of consultancy. When life takes us out of balance, we have the positum to deal with the situation as much as we can. But when that challenge is bigger than us and our resources, so we go to the principle of consultancy and we ask for help. We go to the mentor, to the psychotherapist, to the psychiatrist, to the doctor, wherever we need to go to be able to learn and go over that patch that life is challenging us. We learn, and later if life challenges us in the same thing, now we learn for us, for our family, for our community. And those are the three principles. And this is what I follow. And I wish I can have, I wish we have this clarity as he has it, and as we learn with him and with all these. I love positive psychotherapy because of that. You know, it's not going and dealing with a perfection. It's about how to learn organically what life is about and how to use our positum in the best way possible.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Viola. That sounds really interesting. Before we really move into that direction, Tatiana, from your perspective as a researcher on this age group, can you give us more an insight of what is happening in this group? You know, if you see, I hear Viola speak also about, you know, what life is giving you, but also, you know, taken out of balance. And I think especially, you know, this, on one hand, this group, especially, you know, when they're more in their wisdom, should be able to restore that balance. But on the other hand, they have been going through so much and are going through so much. That balance is a thing, but love to hear your perspective.
Yes, thank you, Ingun. Balance is an interesting concept at this time of life because midlife is very busy. I think most of us know that there's all sorts of demands going on. So what we find is this age group has to face some choices because we can't do everything or be everywhere at the same time, and we can't do alone. So I thank you, Viola, for sharing the asking for help, because that becomes a big part of coping and going through the challenges that this stage of life brings. And why do I say that this stage is challenging? It's not related to age. is related to phase of life. Is because usually we have the responsibilities with our children, if we have children. If we don't have children, might be our nephews, our nieces, our extended family. We have challenges at work. Many of us are still on the treadmill trying to get a bit more out of that particular role we have, or we might be searching for work, which adds another level of worry to our lives. And on top of that, we have our parents that many of us are still caring for. So it is a busy period of life. And at the same time, there's a call for looking into our priorities and see, what do we really want? How can we really wake up? So balance becomes a very important thing. What we find is once that turbulent period passes, once we connect with the help we need, we find our positivity. I'm building on what you said, Viola. I'm pinching everything you said because it's so wonderful. And we get more in touch with who we are. Then we actually get into a very nice stage of life, because you learn that certain things are not worth sweating anymore over. And what matters is where you put your focus on. And there's plenty of research to say that that's the secret of longevity in good health, is that positive attitude. And naturally, we do become a bit more resilient emotionally to things happening around us. This is a natural tendency that we have. And overall, positive individuals do tend to have a much better time in the actually, I would say from childhood, from birth, but I would say definitely at this stage of life, they tend to have better health, better opportunities, better friends, and all that becomes a big part of that stage of life. So it's a bit of mixed picture, but it's a positive picture there.
You're muted. Thank you, Tatiana, for sharing your wisdom. Nicolette, I see that you have already mentioned something in the chat. So would you like to introduce yourself and share more about, give your perspective on this topic?
Yeah, thank you very much, Ingun. Thank you very much, Viola, for I like the 3 principles of well-being, and I specifically like the one you say about asking help. So I'm working with the aging workforce, but mainly from a working perspective. But quite often the well-being part is actually coming into that, if you see what I mean, looking after ourselves, specifically when people have been in the treadmill of work and go on and on and on, actually not looking after their mental well-being, physical well-being. But I also recognize from a personal point of view, what I just put in this chat, is at a certain point it's a bit like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I can't be bothered. There are more relevant things in life. And one of the people here in the street once said, don't sweat the small stuff. And something that stayed with me. And I thought it was quite a good one to mention.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Nicolette. Renee, I see you're online. Is there anything that you want to share coming from your background or your life?
Yeah. Well, of course, I haven't done research. It's only my own experience and what I see around me. Then I see a lot of people are sort of in this transformational phase of having been in a work environment, whatever that work environment is, and sort of slowing down maybe a little bit, not feeling the pressure so much to work like the 60 hours and the travel, and still want to be very impactful. So there's still, of course, in me, but also many people I know, there's still this sense they want to be impactful, they want to have meaningful activities in the day. And I think that that's a very interesting phase that I'm going through at this moment. And I'm fortunate that I found some really impactful work and activities. And I think that's, and it takes time to go through that phase and to keep your balance, to ask for consultancy. I think I do recognize absolutely Viola's 3 principles. And I believe that this positivity part and gratefulness is something that comes more natural in this phase of life than, you know, when you're in the rat race and everything, you have to do everything and no time to think about it, you know, no time for self-care. So I quite like this phase, and at the same time I still think that your mind, you know, still wants things to do, and you want to have impact, and that's yeah, and I think that phase will be longer than our previous generations, because we just, you know, our energy is there, and you know, we live longer. So that's where I am, and I think that's it's a beautiful phase, and at the same time it has some challenges to, you know, to really discover what it is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Nicolette, I see you. I first would like to give Linda the floor. Linda also works with this age group a lot. So Linda, you probably have some experience, also a perspective on what is going on in this age group and how they perceive what is going on, how they experience it.
So thanks, Ingun. So running the 50+ group in South Africa, when COVID started last year, we were still doing online and offline events, but not so much online. And what we started to do is we actually had 2 sessions every week, a coffee hour on a Monday morning and a happy hour on a Thursday afternoon. And we just put out these Zoom sessions, and we didn't have a topic or anything, but we found as the weeks went by that a lot of people were obviously stressed by what was happening. Many people, many women especially, were living alone and having to manage a whole lot of things that they'd never ever had to manage before. And we didn't realize it at the time, but at the end of last year, when we asked for feedback from our members, a lot of them said that we were the place that brought them stability and mental well-being, as that routine place where they could come and just feel safe to ask any questions that they may be feeling, and then realizing that others around them were feeling the same. And I think that that's also an important part of a community, is that mental well-being and belonging are a critical part of helping us to move forward in the stressful world that we live in right now. So thanks, Ingun.
Thank you. Nicolette, and then I'm going back to our guest and host.
Well, I actually had a question for our guest, because I wonder, because if I think about my parents when they were 50, and of course now I'm in my 50s, if you see a change that we are actually putting more emphasis on our well-being than in the past. And yeah, that's one of the questions actually I wanted to put out to Viola, if that's okay.
Yes, sure. Yes, we have, imagine at my age, my grandmother was so old, like, but she considered herself old. We considered her old. It's like the dynamic was so different. We take a lot more care of ourselves. We have much more space to be. I was fortunate to be the daughter of a very social entrepreneur woman, which was a widow. She became a widow when she was 24, pregnant with my sister and me 3 years old. So I grew up with these women, you know, entrepreneur, and we changed several countries, and we did many things. I would say we are more, in a way, we are more equipped to deal with a bigger world. I don't know if physically, if I compare myself physically with my ancestor, maybe physically they were stronger. I take much more care of myself, but maybe I was much more exposed to stress and to addiction or to toxin, maybe much more than my group family in their youth. Therefore, I had to deal more with detoxification and all these things. But I would say that one of the things that really, I have lived it at my age, and I have seen my mother and other group that really shake shake our stability is when we are providers. We are the main providers and many things are taken away from us. Let's imagine at 60s, you lose your job, or what happened to us Venezuelan. Imagine I'm Venezuelan with a Lebanese background, born in Iraq. So all my 3 countries are going through a very, very difficult time. So like we cannot sell our properties, we couldn't access our money. So when you're a provider and you're at my age and you're a provider and you need to move country, you need to start again, get used to so many different things and provide for your family. And I think this is so important when we are part of a network like WIZE MOVE Society, or because the loneliness and it's not a fear like the fear of the youth. It's different. It's like as Tatiana was saying it, there is different priority to do, but you still have to provide. You still have to provide. So, and you still have to learn a language. And in our case, not only me moving country, I have to learn a language. I have to learn the digital language on top of that. So important that in my transition, because I belong, because I have this huge connectedness, thanks heaven, and that what saved me, and that what make me be on my feet again and again. And I can see it with other people at my age, a little bit younger, a little bit older, how the network, how being in like in this case, we're talking 50 plus, how we're not lonely. This is one thing is very important, that you're not suffering in loneliness.
But I also hear you have to be like, you have a mindset, you're used to adapt and start all over again. So I think that's also a bit like, how do you call it, one of your skills to be able to do so. And
yes. And if you're supported by a network, by a company that is specialized in this age group, is specialized in all these things. Like, for example, I have one of my colleagues that he has a marketing and digital company who specialize in companies for women and also for certain age. Yeah, so he's in his 30, but when he talked to me, he's specialized to talk with somebody like me, that when he tell me something, I just don't understand, apart from my age, and I'm not from digital era, I'm dyslexic. I have dyscalculia and I have other dramas. So he's specialized because of this network and because how we work, and to help me in a precise way that I can move and keep expanding and growing at my own space. Yeah, what would you say? So yeah, I wanted to share that with you. It's very important.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Viola. I really want to go back to Tatiana, because you've been hearing, all these others, hear it from their perspective. So would love to hear your idea about it.
Thank you, Ingun. I'm just going to go back a bit. Idea about what aspect?
Well, I think especially the things that are happening to, with this age group. I think that is very important, how they perceive it. And what is, well, we just came out, at the WIZE MOVE Society. Every Tuesday afternoon, we have what we call a village square meeting, and people can just hop in, and we talked about several issues. But mental health was one of the things. And for instance, what came out of there, what was mentioned is, we are not responsible of what happens to us, but we do have a choice how to respond. So of course there is a lot happening, but and not in every situation it's the same. If you live in a certain country, your whole environment is different. What is happening is different. But there is still that choice of what to do. So if you hear these different situations, the different, the different situations of where people are in. So what do you think about what is happening and how they can respond?
It's thank you for that, Ingun. It's interesting because yes, there's a lot of things happening to people and happening at people in a way. There's been a lot of change recently with the pandemic, just magnified changes that were invisible made them visible for many people. And there is a level of choice of what you do. But it's interesting that it's difficult to see this choice alone. It's difficult to see this choice when you think that you're the only person living through a particular challenge and situation. So there's something about connecting with others, and I'll pick on, Linda, what you said, getting together with people and sharing what you're going through, that helps you to unpick what's going on. You know, Stephen Covey talks about leadership, and he talks a lot about things in control and out of control of people when he presents his model. And one of the things that sometimes is difficult for us to do on our own is to pick what's in our control from what is out of our control. And that is very simple, but is very empowering to pick up the things we can do to change our situation. What is interesting in terms of mental health and actually physical health as well is that turns out that people do not feel comfortable to disclose to others that are too different from them. Mm-hmm. So it's the same if anyone that shares the same kind of events in their lives. So if you are a new mother and you're having all sorts of issues with that, you don't feel comfortable disclosing to a mother of teenage children because you don't resonate with them. You feel constrained. And it's the same being part of a community that actually can really understand where you're coming from. It makes a huge difference. So you can be around a lot of people and be lonely. You can be with your family and your neighbors and you love them, but you're still lonely if you can't talk to them about the things that are going inside you. So I think that in that mental health message, there's a lot of connecting with people and connecting with people at different levels. We can have our loved ones, which we hug, kiss, and now in the UK, we are allowed to hug people again. Nicolette would know that. Being here, it's in the papers everywhere. So you can have your loved ones that you get together and spend time with them, but it's not enough. You need to have your like-minded group of people to talk about things that they will understand and they will be able to contribute, even when he's saying something really challenging you, it's enough sometimes to shift where you are in that position.
Thank you, Tatiana. I recognize absolutely, because that is also what we've been talking about this afternoon, is your circle of influence and your circle of control, and also expanding that circle of control step by step and making it, but we're so focused mostly on things that are out of our control and are way too big to deal with, that it can even make that stress situation, that fear, even bigger. Yeah.
It's true, Ingun. It's interesting as well. We are, as humans, wired to focus on the negative as well. It's evolutionary. We focus because we need to avoid danger, we need to survive. So we pick on the negatives quite readily, and we don't pick on the positives quite as readily as we should. So sometimes it takes a bit of help and conversation to recognize the resources we have and the positive aspects we have, where it doesn't need a lot of talk to recognize the gaps and the sort of the areas that we're missing out. So it's interesting that the WIZE MOVE Society, that people are getting together already to have these conversations, because we very easily take for granted the good things we have to offer, because they're so they're easy. If something is easy for us, we think it's easy for everyone. And that's not how it works. We do have a set of things that we're particularly good at, that we have as a particular resource that others don't have. but they can see in us. So it's only through the relational aspect of getting together, we can bring light to these areas that actually can really help us to move, to make that shift from a bad situation to a positive situation.
Maybe here I can add that we take it so easy, the ability to breathe. Maybe for that we don't breathe properly. We don't know how to breathe consciously. Because it's just there. And then when we start learning how to breathe consciously and deeper and wider, we understand, wow, how did we survive with so little? And I remember a manager of a company who telling me, you're telling me that with my negative thinking and the way so dysfunctional I breathe, I become the father of 4. I'm the manager of this company. What's going to happen with me when I learn how to breathe in a functional way and think in a positive way? And I would say, you tell me, let me see you in 4 or 5 years time. And actually in 4 or 5 years time, I received that beautiful note. He would say, I need like an hour to tell you what I'm capable of now that my negative thinking had been transformed and I breathe fully. So it's very important to learn how to breathe in a functional way and not just to take it for granted. And the thought and so many things, the posture, like I still many times, so I have to have the pattern every time I find myself in that old posture of my body, that when I was in a victimhood, when I was feeling so bad. And sometimes without what Tatiana is saying is that we go into those negative patterns, we go. So for that, we need the breathing and the consciousness and to be catching the thought and the posture and the smile, because the old habit can filter. So not to be scared, doesn't matter how old we are, that they filter back, because we can take it in back, and we learn that we learn another habit. We just have to keep practicing all the time, independently of our age. And that when we are in a group, we mirror to each other that. Like now, all of you are sitting straight. I don't know if you noticed that many times, all of you are mirroring for me. So almost I didn't get this, yeah? Because we mirror to each other the smile and the good habits and the good posture and the good breathing. And we see in breathing how children inherit the way, this functional way, how their carer breathe. For that, we work with the carers too. So yeah, this is why it's so important to be in a society like this, because we will, and there is no limit of age to learn. I can tell you that I'm married with a man who's 75, and the way how he learn and stay hour to learn a new way, it's so beautiful to see, because we have so many things settle in us. So it's like learning could be a little bit difficult, but it's the priority. So we enjoy every bit of it. So I wanted to share that. No limit of age to learn.
Absolutely, I totally agree with that. And no, first Renee, you have your
I wanted to build on something that Tatiana said, and that is about the sense of belonging, and others said it too, but I was triggered with her point that it's so important to find a community or a few people only, or who understand what you're going through. That is so helpful. And we see that in trainings, in just friendships, or just casual meetings, where all of a sudden you can have such a great, I recognize where you're going through. So I think that's really important. And that's also, I think, why the WIZE MOVE Society has such an attractiveness and an appeal. The other part of belonging is, of course, your family, and Tatiana mentioned that definitely. I would like to add that it's still so very important to connect with other age groups. So, I love it when I talk to my children. They teach me things about the newest apps, or, what's in at this moment, or, younger people who are still with their young children, or that's still also a very interesting and nourishing interaction or sense of belonging that you need, in my view, next to the other points of belonging. That's what I wanted to add to the discussion.
Diverse.
Absolutely. I heard someone respond, or no? No.
Yes, I was saying diversity is so important, of
Yes,
course.
absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And I do think that, you know, offering that community and offering that tribe, offering that safe space that people can really share and, you know, feel like, okay, this is the place where I feel those like-minded people, I find them, and we can really share about what is happening. But also, and this is very important for the WIZE MOVE Society, is that we start, you know, looking at the future. It is about how can we support others? How can we support each other? What can we do right now? And how can we act on what is going on? So I think, Viola, this is really where, you know, your breathing, of course, comes in. That is very important. And maybe, you know, a little bit towards the end that we do a breathing exercise, that would really be nice. So that we really feel like we're grounded, and that is, you know, something that for me, in my life, meditation and breathing exercise really helped me to look at things from a totally different perspective, and really be able to relax when that is needed. But we are here as a community to offer that space to people and feel like, okay, you know, you can come here, we offer that safe space, we can discuss, we can talk about it, but we also want to start that healing process, you know, so that we really come together to work on it and to get the people out of the situation that they're in. But not only to get them out, but also to let them take the next step. And this is something I don't really remember who mentioned it. To do this on your own is almost impossible. So that would really, so Viola, I really would like to take that step into, okay, so what is next? What are we going to do? What is...
Yeah. Also, I want to say, doing it by yourself is impossible. And counting on your children or in your relationship and your lover or partner is also because your need that's going to be met in a group like this is very different of what your partner, loving partner, that I adore him and thank God every minute for him. His background is so different. His need is so different. So it's very important, I think, when you belong, when you are part of a society like this, also it improves all the stress that you put in your relationship, if you are in a relationship, or in your kids, because sometimes we pretend that he or she is going to be the father, the mother, the friend, the lover, the business partner. It's impossible. They can't do all these. I cannot do all these things for him or for her. So it's very important to spread the need in a place, as we're talking about WIZE MOVE Society. And then it's like if your partner doesn't like opera and you have somebody of your friend who adore opera, and then your partner is watching rugby, isn't that great? You know, instead of obliging each other to do many things. And for people who are more alone in this stage of their life, also is great, because you're alone, but you're not lonely. And I think for me, one of my great quality is connectedness. I just feel that it's like, what's next? Also, you are born in we love our family, and I'm sure all of us, our parent, our carer, love us to bits, but not necessarily we belong to that circuit where we were born, or those countries we were born. Many of us felt like little bit aliens already when we were growing up. So when we are in another age, feeling not to be obliged to be in a tribe that already we don't feel too much part of, and be able to spread the wings and be in another type of being here with our beloved one, but we know that we can share with other friend in a network also is beautiful, because this is the other family that we choose, yeah, spiritual family and the other family. So for me, I will talk hours and hours why it's so important to be in groups, why it's so important not to be lonely. And for me, it has saved my life with all these changes. And what's next? Well, next is to dare, because at this age and stage, we need to dare. And as I said before, if I want to be a public speaker, and I have this accent, as you hear, but I want that. So I need to ask for help, not to fix my accent, because you will see that's going to be very difficult to fix, but I will need support from Tatiana, from Ingun, from Nicoletta, or from Renee, or from whoever, to be able to stand up there with pride, with love to myself, and express my wisdom and reach what I'm dreaming about. So what's next? Again, being part of this society is going to help you to dare to do many things that you would have liked to do, but maybe you couldn't do by yourself. So it's like all these different programs and different things that we're gonna have. For me, what's next is, I guess, until the last breath, I'm being, I wake up in the morning with 300 ideas and 2 people who I have to connect. So I guess in some moment I will slow down something, but other thing will appear to learn. So for me, next is to keep the connection, is to keep the learning and giving and learning. Giving and learning, this is what makes me so happy in life. And give service, in a sustainable way. We can do it in a different way, being from the way how we eat, how we drink, how we dress. This is maybe another conversation. So how to be permeable, how to be organic, how to be resilient in an organic way, when life challenges us, how we stand up, but with very nurtured and ready to support others. So maybe they have less impact that we have. And keep spreading, through the companies I have created with Beloved One, to be part of this WIZE MOVE Society, and to keep giving and learning and breathing with consciousness, and smile as much as you can, and deal with the thing you have to deal every day.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Viola. And before we ask you to do just a 5-minute exercise, and I know you have to leave.
I have to leave.
5 minutes to the hour. So just short, Tatiana, if you look at what we have been, sharing this afternoon, can you, what is it, what do you take out of it? What is the most important, what are the most important things?
There's so many things. I'm going to say the first one will be breathe. I like that, Viola. It's so fundamental, and we forget how many times we find ourselves holding our breath as we're doing something, and it is absolutely essential. So definitely that's on my top 5, my top 3. But another thing that's interesting as well is that idea of connecting and daring that Viola brought, and sometimes we feel that we could do something. Sometimes we feel we could do something different than we've been doing, but we don't want to tell our friends, or we don't want to tell our family. We just don't want to, just because we don't want to create that expectation out there that we might be doing something. So connecting with people, they are from different groups, allow us to explore these ideas without making them official yet. So we call that, there's a term for that, identity work. So identity play, when you play for possibility of doing something in a group, by talking, by trying out different outfits, different ways of speaking, different approaches. And then you can have a sense if that's for you or not before you making that official. And it's interesting that meeting different people might allow you to ask them, because they might be doing what you think you could be doing, and getting their insights. So connecting and daring goes pretty much with this idea that we can find spaces to try out options in our minds, in our imagination, in conversation, before committing to them in a way that we feel exposed or forced to go ahead of those ideas we had. So
yes, and so nice, Tatiana. Also daring to say no. So let's imagine you don't know how to swim. Everybody has been in your life teaching you how to swim, and you know what? No, I'm gonna go and walk, or nothing, whatever it is. It's like daring. It's a time to say no to something, and it's the time to dare to do things that you've been dreaming about. This is what I think my age allow me, you know, apart from wearing a red hat and green shoes and whatever I want. But, you know, it's like, you know, just let's there, you know, just let's there and let's, you see how Tatiana laughed about the image me with green shoes and red, and that smile was just a lot of tenderness and caring and approval. What we need at this age and stage is that, to be supported, to have laughter together and to breathe together and to create things together. And if it didn't work, it didn't work, you know. So it's a time of permiso, ¿Cómo se dice eso en inglés?
Give permission, give ourselves permission.
Yes, permission. Let's go to
allow ourselves. It's a bit less formal. I would say that. Let it be. Let it happen.
Yeah, I do wear hats, and when I enter to a room in an airport or something, I always see these faces. Somebody like Tatiana who's making, and some other people who say like, you know, you're always gonna get these things. Some people will love the way how you are, and some other people will not swallow you. So what, you know? Let's go into that flow of what we want. And I think in a place like this, we will have a lot of laughter together about ourselves and a lot of care.
That's very important. Yeah.
Let's go for
just short. Nicolette, one thing you want to get out of it, that you do get out of it.
Yeah, as I said, like, don't sweat the small stuff what I already said, but the balance. And also what I love what Viola said, like, don't try to get everything from one person. So to make the connection to the WIZE society. After lockdown, I'm very happily married, but 24/7 only with your partner, I can tell you, is not great. So I think that's good to also see, like, yes, we need to be more outwards. Yeah, love that.
Faithfully.
Renee, your takeaway.
Yeah, I think the connectedness in different levels, that's a thing that really hit home. I knew it, and it has more elements and more layers than you normally think of. So that's great.
Absolutely. Linda, your takeaway?
I think I love the practicing identity process. I think that I see too few people trying to do that, and just breathing, connecting, and giving ourselves permission sometimes to say no.
Thank you very much. There's a lot to build on. Viola, do you have time for one exercise, one breathing exercise?
Yes, let's do the exercise of square exercise, because somebody talked about holding. So if we do consciously holding, it will heal the unconsciously holding. So there is a beautiful exercise that we can call it square. So we can like breathe in 4, hold in 4, exhale in 4, hold in 4. Yeah, and try to do this exercise as many times as you want during the day, because it will heal the unconscious holding of the breath. Okay, let's go. Always breathe from your nose, inhale and exhale, unless the instruction is different, because this is another thing we do. We breathe a lot from the mouth so this is obstruct. So we need to use that part of the body that was designed to breathe. And if you want, let's breathe today with eyes open. I'm going around the world saying, open your eyes. Let's go to relationship with eyes open, to businesses with eyes open. I know you can relax when you close your eyes, so you know how to do it. Let's now do it with eyes open. And all of us, all of you that you're watching us, open your eyes. And let's inhale from the nose. I'm going to be counting 4. Let's hold. Let's exhale and hold. We'll do it again. Okay, relax. Let's see if we can do it 5. It was easy doing it in 4. Yeah, easy. So you add 1. Let's do it in 5. So I always count like this because I used to count like this, and I know in some of the countries you cannot do this. So I'm a little bit concerned with my fingers. Okay, so let's do it in 4. Sorry, in 5. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. And inhale naturally. So you can do in 5 as much as you can, and you add more. So you do 6 inhale, 6 hold, and then you do some days like this and you feel comfortable, so you add 1 more, and let's see how much more you can add. Yes, that's very good, and it grounds you, and it's very important. And I'm looking forward for all our activities in WIZE MOVE Society, cross-cultural, cross-age, cross, you know, I mean, I can see just the color and the vibes of all that. So congratulations to all of us that we've been in this WIZE MOVE Society since the beginning. I love pioneering, and I'm sure it's gonna grow healthy and wisely to different parts of the globe. Thank you so much for your invitation today, and as usual, count on me.
Thank you, Viola, for your contribution today. It was really great to have you here. And Tatiana, you probably agree. And what I love most of today is, you know, in our on the WIZE MOVE Society, that this afternoon we already had this great conversation with a group of the members who joined in to talk about also the mental health and other things that were happening on the workplace that influenced also the mental health situation of people. So I'd love to share it here as well. And but of course we will dive deeper and deeper, especially on the platform. So I invite everyone who enjoyed this conversation to meet us next time on the WIZE MOVE Society. We'll put the link of the website where you can find more information, but also for registration. And love to see you there as well, and really create those, you know, the future together, and make it brighter and make it more conscious, and absolutely less mental health issues, so that well-being is really the way to move forward. So thank you all for being here, and really love to see you next week on again on Tuesday at 5 o'clock, when we have one of our members who is coming as a guest here on Facebook Live, and sharing her experience so far. She's been there from the beginning and really loves to contribute to all the different activities there. So thank you all for now, and love to see you next week. Bye-bye.